However, just when she was being transferred to jail, she made a break for it and managed to get away from the police. Feeling enraged, she raced to our home to get revenge on us for reporting her to the police. Unarmed, she broke into our home and tried to kidnap Marcus, but I was home when she tried. Seeing her trying to take my son away from me, I snapped. I grabbed the nearest thing to me, which happened to be a fire poker, and I attacked her with it. She hadn't been expecting for me to attack her with a weapon, and I very easily knocked her out. I even managed to break one of her arms and one of her legs as well. Hi there, my name is Candace, and since I was a little girl, I have always wanted to be a mother. It was incredibly important for me, so when I met my husband, Simon, I made sure early on in our relationship that he was in line with my desires, and that he too wanted children. Soon after we were married, we bought a home and started trying for a baby, but unfortunately we had no success at all. Simon blamed himself, but I assured him that even if we were having difficulties because there was an issue with fertility, either with him or myself, that we would find a way to have a child. And sure enough, we both went for fertility tests and found that I had a little complication, and getting pregnant will be difficult. My husband loved me so much and consoled me. This news felt horrible for both of us, but we wanted to be parents so badly that we looked into alternative options, including getting a surrogate. While speaking about our options with a friend of mine, Sasha, that I had made somewhat recently, she expressed interest in being a surrogate for us if we were interested. Well, I had thought that I knew her quite well, and so we decided that we would take her up on her offer. We had our lawyer draw up some legal paperwork saying that once the baby was born, that we would be given sole custody of it, and during the pregnancy, that we would help out my friend Sasha with expenses and medical bills, and that after the baby was born, that we would give her $30,000 for being the surrogate. It was no small amount of money, but it was a lot of work to carry a child, and we wanted to compensate Sasha for her sacrifice, and we were willing to pay nearly any price. We went over late one afternoon to Sasha's house with the paperwork to get it signed. Once the paperwork was signed by both us and Sasha, we began talking about what to name the baby, and then decided to go out for dinner. And in the confusion, we forgot the paperwork at her house. Oh no, I forgot the paperwork back at your place.
Oh, that's okay. I'll bring it over the next time that I come for a visit.
That would be perfect. Thanks, Sasha. However, for weeks on end, she kept forgetting to do so. She would keep saying that she forgot to bring it, and the few times we went over to her place, she even said that she misplaced it, but that it would turn up soon. Since she was a friend, we weren't too worried and just kind of lost track it. Problems began to arise, though, that made us begin to question if we had chosen the right person. After all, we had only known her for a little over a year, and while we had thought we had grown to know her quite well, we were about to learn some very shocking information about her. It started off with little things, like her asking if she could get more money to pay for food. We figured that since she was pregnant, that yes, she would be eating a bit more than usual, but the more money we gave, the more that she demanded of us.
Listen, I don't think you guys understand. I need to buy more and better food. You guys want your child to be healthy, yes?
Well, of course we do, but we gave you money last week. Are you sure you need more already?
Yes, I'm sure. Are you really questioning me? Do you not realize that all this questioning is stressing me out and is bad for the baby?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. Please take this, and if you need anything else, just let us know. On the one hand, she was doing us a huge favor, but it was hard to not feel like she was also taking advantage of us. The fact that her boyfriend began bragging how they were able to buy all kinds of things now irritated us, especially since among those things was a lot of alcohol. The second I realized that, I blatantly asked Sasha if she was drinking while carrying my child.
Well, no. But there's no reason my boyfriend can't have something to enjoy, and I'm saving a few bottles for after the delivery.
That really isn't what the money we are giving you is for, though. What else are you buying?
Just the essentials. I can't believe that you are causing me this much stress and anxiety again. Didn't you listen to me last time about how this is bad for the baby?
You're right. I'm sorry. However, I suspected that she and her boyfriend were buying more than just alcohol. During the second trimester, I learned from mutual friends of ours that Sasha and her boyfriend were known to party hard. They would drink heavily and do all kinds of drugs. When I heard this, I was terrified. Sasha had always seemed like a very down-to-earth and good person, and for me to discover this when she was carrying my child was very alarming. A very large part of me was worried about the health of my child. I contemplated demanding that she take a drug test, but then Sasha stopped responding to our phone calls and texts. Both my husband and I became incredibly worried. There was about a month left until Sasha's due date, and we wanted to know if everything was okay. Weeks passed, and we got word that Sasha had given birth and that it was a healthy baby boy. Once again, we tried to contact Sasha, but for a few weeks, she kept dodging our calls and texts again, until one day. Sasha? Oh, I'm so glad to hear your voice. How are you, and how is our baby?
Oh, I'm good. But I have some bad news for you. I've given it a lot of thought and I'm keeping the baby.
What? You can't do that. We had an agreement. We signed legal documents and everything.
Yeah, but you don't have copies of those papers, so you have no way of proving that it's your baby. Sorry, but we are going to keep him.
And what about the lump sum payment, though? You must surely still want that, right? We can still come to an agreement, right?
Oh, you can feel free to send the money over, sure, but we are still keeping the baby unless you double the amount. You see? It turns out my boyfriend is infertile, and this is probably the only way that we will be able to have a baby together. But if you send us $60,000, maybe we will have a rethink.
And then she hung up on me. I stood there with the phone in my hand, unable to process what had just happened, until I got an idea. I called up the police and told them that I suspected that Sasha and her boyfriend were selling drugs out of their home, and I mentioned that they had a baby and that it was an unsafe environment for the child. And then I just let nature take its course. The next day, the police showed up to Sasha's house along with Child Protection Services, and they forced their way into the home. Of course, they found copious amounts of alcohol and drugs there, at which point they arrested both Sasha and her boyfriend and put the baby into protective custody, with their house empty. My husband and I snuck over and broke into Sasha's home and found the adoption paperwork, and then brought it to the police and filed kidnapping charges against Sasha and her boyfriend. Our lawyer had done her job quite well, and the paperwork was very thorough, and it detailed out that the child was ours, and we explained how Sasha had refused to give the baby over to us after he was born. Of course, the police didn't just believe our word or the paperwork alone and had us tested to prove that the baby was indeed our child, and thankfully the blood test proved that he was. We still had to appear in court, but between the blood test, the paperwork, and the receipts and records we had kept from the pregnancy, the judge declared that we were indeed the rightful parents of the baby, which we named Marcus. We were then free to take him home and begin our life with him. But that wasn't the last we had heard from Sasha, though. The judge that presided over her case sentenced her to 10 years in prison for kidnapping, possession of drugs, and fraud as well, since she had promised to be a surrogate, only to turn around and try to steal our baby. However, just when she was being transferred to jail, she made a break for it and managed to get away from the police. Feeling enraged, she raced to our home to get revenge on us for reporting her to the police. Unarmed, she broke into our home and tried to kidnap Marcus, but I was home when she tried. Seeing her trying to take my son away from me, I snapped. I grabbed the nearest thing to me, which happened to be a fire poker, and I attacked her with it. She hadn't been expecting for me to attack her with a weapon, and I very easily knocked her out. I even managed to break one of her arms and one of her legs as well. My husband called the police during the attack, and when they showed up, they deemed it self-defense, and I didn't get charged. But the whole ordeal added more charges to the list of offenses that Sasha had already accrued, and rather than just 10 years, she was now looking at 18 years in prison. Her boyfriend got 7 years in prison for the part he played in everything. So that's the whole story. We haven't heard anything from either Sasha or her boyfriend, and hopefully even when they get out of prison, they will be smart enough to just leave us alone. But in the meantime, we get to enjoy being a family and do our best to ensure that Marcus has a happy and healthy life. We were worried that Sasha had been drinking and doing drugs when she was pregnant with him, but thankfully she hadn't, and Marcus truly was a healthy baby boy. My husband and I would love to get Marcus a sibling, but after what happened with Sasha, we think we'll just stick to adoption. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and we will try our best to reply to your comment.